Hello everyone, and welcome back to Myths and Magic. I've had a bit of a channel rebrand since my last video. I'm still going to be doing tabletop hobby kind of stuff, but this video is going to be more related to Dungeons and Dragons, which is a popular, well-known role-playing game. But for the specifics, any of you want to know out there, 5th edition. This video is supposed to be a story time, so you can sit back, relax, and have a nice drink of cocoa, beer, or whatever you're drinking. I would like to build a rapport with my audience, so please comment down below and tell me where you're watching from. So the premise of this campaign was that my DM was running the Lost Minds of Phandelver module. He was part of our friend group and he asked whether we wanted to play or not. I was into the idea because I was already familiar with this sort of stuff. And when we started playing, we noticed quite early on he had made quite a few changes. So if there are any parts of this module that, if you're recounting this story and you think, oh, that something's wrong, it's all purposeful and intended. You do not need to know about Dungeons and Dragons and all the complicated rules. If I say terms like natural 20 or natural 1, that's okay. The video will be more story-based and atmospheric, so there's no need to worry. The story begins in a forest. It was the middle of the day, and a blade of sunlight revealed an open path ahead. A dark grey pool lowered over the country of Phandelver. 2 adventurers are riding a cart along the pathway. At this point, the Dungeon Master asks us to describe our characters. I was a player character in this campaign. My character was named Freya. He had long locks of dark black hair, and he was a dark-skinned half-elf. His eyes were hazel brown, but whenever he activated his warlock powers, they would turn a mystical bright baby blue. He had ruffled leather clothes and a large tome held in a satchel at his side. He was a very impulse-based person. He made very quick decisions, and he was very enthusiastic. Then there was Augustus. He had battered golden armor with bronze and silver trimming. Alongside him was a large, carefully crafted spear, with religious runes and engravings. As they travelled along the pathway, the stench of rotting corpses came the party's way. They found corpses riddled across the path ahead, with lapping crimson blood heading towards them. The bodies were made up of a couple of horses and some riders, and amongst them was a pony, clearly meant for a smaller person. Augustus reckoned the corpses were relatively fresh, and that a skirmish took place recently. There were also some small footsteps that led back to the cave. In curiosity, the party headed there. They hid their carts behind some bushes, and then they trekked through into the cave. At the entrance, there were 3 wolves chained to a pole. Freya tried to befriend the animals with a ring of animal friendship, a rare item he had acquired through his travels. One wolf accepts Freya's friendship and joins the party. The group carries on heading into the cave and find a group of goblins surrounding a tied-up dwarf. Freya interrogates the goblins for information about the cave and the corpses outside. The goblins then start cackling at him, revealing their open, wide jaws with filed, spiked teeth. Freya then realised that was the reason why they were called the Cragmore tribe. Alongside this, Freya also realised that the goblins didn't speak common tongue. He reaches into his satchel and grabs out his large leather tome, the Tome of Infinity, given its namesake because of the infinite pages held within. He opened up the book and casted illusory script to communicate his threats. The goblins told him that they had captured the dwarf on the highway and to stay away. Following this were also other rude remarks towards him, his companion, and their mothers. Freya casts Eldritch Blast and kills the goblins. However, Eldritch Blast is a force spell, and they are in a cave. Suddenly, a rumble comes from within. Rocks start falling, and the cave starts flooding. Quickly, Augustus carries the dwarf, while Freya and the wolf climb some naturally made steps. However, along the way, Freya had cut himself. The flood stops, and both Freya and Augustus recuperate. Freya tries to heal up the cut, Meanwhile, both of the adventurers chat with each other, properly introducing themselves. This was a moment in real life where our dungeon master wanted us to introduce our characters' backstories. However, I did have one, but now that I am running a campaign set in the same world, I've made Freya more so of a figure of mystery, and his backstory now is a lot more vague alongside his future. Augustus, however, did have one. He was the son of a king of a race of demigods, known only as the Eternals, who shared the same namesake as the gods that they had worshipped, and the gods who had given these humans powers. However, he had long ago ran from his family, and has now been picking up odd jobs. During this chat, the wolf licks Freya's wound, and this was a cool moment by my DM, because what happens after next was quite unexpected. The wolf started convulsing, his fur turned black, and fire roared from his eyes and mouth. Freya checks to see if he's friendly. He is, and it turns that Freya has a strong mental connection to him. He tells the party the wolf is safe. They continue healing the dwarf, and find out he is Gundren Rockseeker, the dwarf who hired the party. Freya and Augustus tell him that the cart is outside, and they can take him to Phandelver. The party rests to continue their travels on the morrow. Hello everyone. I would like to start a new section to these videos called Miniature of the Week. This one is Elrond from the Lord of the Rings movies, specifically his first appearance in the movies. And this was the start of my Rivendell army for MESBG. It's quite old, so I don't really like the paint job from the front. What I will say is I like the cape on the back, with the light blue highlights on the top, and it goes darker and darker as we go down. And I did a mix of edge highlighting and shading with some shade paints. But yeah, and I have loads more miniatures as well that I will show off in these sections. And if you are interested in perhaps buying some, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This is a new video format that I would like to try out, telling the stories from my old campaign. And I have a couple of ideas, and I would like to discuss with you the future of this channel. I have an idea about doing a Campaign 2. Campaign 2 is something that I am running as a DM. Alongside this, I have an idea for something called Campaign 1.5, which was an original concept I had for Campaign 2, which didn't make the cut in the end. But that's the story for another time. I'll see you in the next episode.